Namaste. In this podcast, I have talked briefly about stepmother and how a wicked, evil stepmother can be indicated through your birth chart. Now, it may happen that you may not have a stepmother, but you have a mother who is also like a stepmother, meaning she treats you very badly. She is very insensitive towards you. And in certain cases, I have seen that the mother is not happy when her child progresses in his or her life. It is shocking, but it is a fact because I have seen such kind of real cases. And let me tell you, from the very beginning of time, it has been observed that most of the cases connected to stepmother have always been very negative. Meaning, in most of the cases, it is the stepmother who have tried to destroy her stepson or stepdaughter. However, there are always exceptions. So, there are also some good stepmothers or good stepfathers. But the majority of the cases concerning a stepmother are always negative. Many young sons and young daughters have suffered at the hands of a wicked stepmother. And so in this podcast, I have shared certain planetary placements that indicate a wicked stepmother. And at the same time, even though you may not have a stepmother, certain planetary placements that I have indicated in this podcast may also help you understand that why your mother is so insensitive towards you, then whether it is real mother or stepmother. Because there are many real cases where the person doesn't have a stepmother, but the real mother is also acting like a stepmother. It is a fact which cannot be denied. In poetries and poems, you always read about a good mother, a loving mother. But in the ground reality, that is not the always case. So many of you may not like to hear this, but it's a fact that there are many men and women who have suffered at the hands of their stepmother or real mother. And in this podcast, I have covered all these subjects through the placement of certain planets and stars. And also, I have shared a beautiful message, answer to the question that why such kind of suffering you have to go through in this life. The question why is always very important. And I have answered this why question. So let's begin. When moon is afflicted in the birth chart, when fourth house is afflicted, when sun is weak, and when you are running through Rahu or Ketu Mahadasha or Antardasha, and if your stepmother is active in doing black magic on you, then it is likely that her attacks may cause much damage to your prospects. Whenever your birth chart is weak and you are running through difficult Mahadasha period, you become an easy target and your enemy can cause much harm to you. From the very beginning of time, it has been observed that stepmothers have always been very negative and destructive by nature. Although some stepmothers have been exceptionally good, but these kind of good stepmothers are in minority. The majority of stepmothers have turned out to be the worst nightmare, and the obvious target and victim is the stepson or stepdaughter. If you go back in the history, you will find many examples of such evil and dangerous stepmothers who have tried to defame or destroy their stepson in order to make things easier for their own son or daughter. In Ramayana, the main villain is not Ravan but Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi was the stepmother of Lord Rama, and it was her plotting and cunningness and selfishness that forced Lord Rama into an exile. He was forced to leave his palace, to leave his home, to leave his father, and he had to spend 14 years in forest with his wife Ma Sita. So the whole trouble began because of this one woman, the stepmother of Lord Rama, Kaikeyi. Similarly, there have been millions of Kaikeyi, meaning millions of stepmothers who have been plotting and trying to kill or harm their stepsons or stepdaughters by means of black magic spells and physical abuse. In this podcast, I am going to talk on the astrological indications that signify a very bad, wicked stepmother who is a witch, but on the outward she talks very sweetly. Always remember, fourth house is directly connected with mother. However, fourth house lord is connected with the status and nature of mother. And so, if fourth house lord is in the third house and fourth house lord is debilitated, then that becomes one important indication. Fourth house lord in Mula Nakshatra or Adra Nakshatra is a second indication. Fourth house lord in 12th house, 8th house or 6th house is a third indication. Fourth house lord afflicted by Rahu or Ketu or Shani is fourth indication. Fourth house lord in 6th, 8th, 12th Navamsha is fifth indication. And fourth house lord debilitated in the Navamsha Kundali is sixth indication. Basically, the very first observation should be on the fourth house lord condition in the birth chart. The second observation should be on the condition of moon in the birth chart. Moon Ketu conjunction in 6th house, 8th house, 12th house is first indication. Moon Rahu conjunction in 4th, 8th or 12th house is second indication. Moon Saturn in Aries sign or Leo sign or Sagittarius sign is a third indication. Moon combust and the lord of moon sign afflicted by association of Rahu, Ketu or Shani is the fourth indication. Basically, the second observation should be around the condition of moon in the birth chart. The third observation should be based on the planets that aspect or occupy the fourth house. Rahu in fourth house in Ugra or Tikshna Nakshatra. Shani in fourth house in Ugra or Tikshna Nakshatra. Rahu Shani in fourth house in Ugra or Tikshna Nakshatra. Sun Mercury in fourth house in Ugra or Tikshna Nakshatra. Uranus Neptune in fourth house. Sun Mars in fourth house in Ugra or Tikshna Nakshatra. Basically, the third observation should be around the placement of planets in the fourth house and any malefic drushti on fourth house, such as Saturn's third or seventh drushti on fourth house, Mars drushti on fourth house, or Rahu's drushti on fourth house. The last and the most significant observation should be around the nakshatras. Whenever any strict planet like Saturn or a detached planet like Ketu is found in the nakshatra of Moon, then that signify absence of affection from the stepmother. And in such scenarios, even though if you don't have a stepmother, even then from your real mother, you may experience this absence of affection. So, as I have explained, whenever you come across difficult situations in life and you have a stepmother, then you must revisit your birth chart just to know that it is your stepmother who is behind all the troubles and sufferings that you have been going through your life. It is your stepmother who is doing all kinds of dirty black magic spells on you so that she can finish you totally. But let me tell you, there is someone more powerful, and his name is God. If you continue to walk with faith in your heart, and if you continue to pray and worship your Lord, the Holy Master, then let me tell you from my own experiences that nobody can harm you or kill you until your exit time has come. It is true that through black magic spells, stepmothers have been trying to cause much harm to innocent stepsons or stepdaughters. But in the end, it is the evil that gets defeated, and victory always belongs to the good, the truth, the divine. When it comes to the subject of stepmother and her evilness, the best story is the story of Cinderella. I think that one story speaks a lot about how evil and cunning stepmothers are. Stepmother is the negative face of real mother, you see. And so in many people's life, they don't have stepmother, but their real mother behaves like a stepmother. Such mothers are narcissist by nature, and they simply make the lives of their children a hell. They continue to dictate the lives of their children, and in such a terrible situation, the child feels suffocated as he or she can't do much. They are expected to live like a slave of their mother. Like in many literatures of the world, there is one beautiful book, and the title of the book is The 24 Filial Exemplars, in which there are many stories revolving around the many evil practices of stepmother. The 24 Filial Exemplars is a Chinese classical text written by Guo Juzing in the 12th century. Based on many historical references, it is observed that 90% of stepmothers have been utterly evil, wicked, and narcissist by nature. However, in their public life, these evil stepmothers have been sweet talkers and have been fooling others by wearing a mask of goodness, whereas in reality, they have turned out to be the most evil, wicked person in the human history. Now that I have addressed the astrological aspects of a wicked and evil stepmother, the most important question still remains. And the question is that why you come across such situations in life wherein you have to face the many wraths and evil games of your stepmother. It is a significant question that can help you turn inwards and find the answer. The answer is simple because truth is simple, God is simple, love is simple. The answer is directly connected to your past birth. Your past birth evil and bad karma have come back in the form of your stepmother in this birth. It is also a probability that the bad karmas of your past life were connected to the person who has now come in the form of your stepmother. However, karmic cycle always has an ending. Once you are punished for all your past bad karma pertaining to your stepmother, you will be finally released, and then nobody can harm you anymore. Then, even if your stepmother continues to cast dirty black magic spells on you, or even if she tries to harm you in any other means, you will remain safe, because now you don't have any past life bad karmic balance left. However, the catch is here. The catch is that many sons and daughters react by offending their stepmother, and this leads to a new bad karmic cycle for you. So instead of reacting or offending your stepmother, it is always wise to implement a defensive mechanism wherein you can protect yourself from the heinous black magic attacks that she casts upon you. And when your past birth karmic balance is over, then you will no more suffer due to her black magic attacks or any other political games that she may try to play upon you. That is why the Bhagavan always says that you should never react. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi quotes, "The only spiritual life you need is not to react. To be calm is the greatest asset in the world. When you are perfectly calm, time stops. There is no time. Karma stops. Sanskaras stop. Everything becomes null and void." Mohan asked, "But how to remain calm?" It is a good question. Very few people ask real good questions, questions that can transform your life. To remain calm, you have to drop the mind. Unless and until you come out of the clutches of your mind, you cannot remain calm. And so the whole spiritual journey is to move beyond the mind. And the only tool available to you is the mantra. Only mantra can help you to move beyond the mind. By daily reciting a specific soothing mantra, you can burn the very existence of the mind. Man means mind, and Tantra means technique. Mantra is a technique to overcome the monkey mind. As you start reciting the mantra with deep devotion and faith, slowly, this mantra becomes a flame that burns the whole slavery that the mind has created. And then you start feeling lighter. Then, as you progress more in your chanting practice, you start experiencing the taste of real freedom. You start experiencing bliss within, the joy within. And what to say about such a blissful state? Even if you put millions of dollars before such a man, he will just laugh at you, because no money and no precious stones can lead you to such a blissful state that just one mantra and the grace of the Guru can. That is why Ramakrishna Paramhans used to hate money. Once it happened, a man came to meet Ramakrishna Paramhans, and when Ramakrishna Paramhans came before him, he laid precious gemstones and lots of money before Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna smiled and said, "Le ja bhai," meaning, "Take this away, brother." The man said, "You are great. This is one more example that you have sacrificed everything. You are a great hermit." Ramakrishna laughed and said, "You have sacrificed. I haven't sacrificed anything because I am enjoying the divine bliss within. However, you have sacrificed this divine bliss for the sake of these stones and money. You are busy in accumulating these stones and money, and I am busy in accumulating the love of the Lord. For these mere stones and gold and money, you are sacrificing the divinity. So, who is truly sacrificing? You or me? It is you. And so, I am not sacrificing anything, but you certainly are. One who accumulates the useless and sacrifices the divine is the one who sacrifices. The man collected all his money and gold and diamonds and went away. He was fortunate to receive a very significant message from Ramakrishna Paramhans. And so, my fellows, the message is simple and clear. Focus within. It is your own past birth bad karma that manifested in the form of stepmother, stepfather, stepsister, or stepbrother. And then these men and women try to harm you. But as I mentioned, every karmic cycle has a beginning and end as well. So don't focus much on the reaction. Focus on the cause behind the reaction, and you will then start walking back home. Meditation is coming back home. Meditation is awareness. Meditation is paradise. Meditation is rest. Rest is necessary, and the mind will rest only when you start chanting daily. Every great saint has emphasized on the significance of chanting. Naam Japo, says Guru Nanak, meaning he says, please chant the name of the Holy Lord. Reminds me of one significant incident that happened in the presence of Bhagwan Raman Maharshi. Once a man came and said to Bhagwan, "Bhagwan, I have received a mantra, so I seek your advice. Should I recite this mantra?" Bhagwan smiled and said, "Certainly, it should be repeated with faith." The man said, "Will it do by itself, or can you kindly give me any further instructions?" Bhagwan said, "The object of mantra japa is to realize that the same japa is already going on in oneself even without effort. The oral japa becomes mental, and the mental japa finally reveals itself as being eternal. That mantra is the person's real nature. That is also the state of realization." The man asked, "Can the bliss of samadhi be gained through mantra chanting?" This time, Bhagwan Raman Maharshi smiled again and said, "The japa becomes mental and finally reveals itself as the self. That is samadhi." My fellows, and I say this only to my close followers, through this divine conversation, the compassionate Bhagavan shares the whole eternal truth with us. To all those beautiful souls who follow me, who listen to my podcasts, I wanted to encourage you all and help you realize the significance of chanting. And so this sharing is just for you all. so that you get the message and you continue to chant with consistency and faith. The reason many of you are not able to be consistent in your chanting is because your faith in chanting is somehow still not as strong as it should be. Your thirst for the Lord is not as intense as it should be. It is the lack of intensity and weak faith is what makes you inconsistent in your spiritual practice. Always remember, to attain spiritual progress, first comes intensity and then the rest follows. That is why Sant Kabir says that when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Intense love, intense faith, and intense passion is what you need. If you truly desire to progress on your spiritual path, if you truly desire to experience the divine, then you need to be intense in whatever you do. Enough for now. My utmost love to all my close followers around the globe. It doesn't matter how many follow you. What matters is who follows you. There is one beautiful quote in regards to Jesus Christ, and the quote is significant in many ways as it speaks the ultimate truth. It says, Jesus fed 5,000 people, but only 500 people followed him after lunch. Jesus had 12 disciples, but only 3 went further in the garden, and only 1 stood with him at the foot of the cross. The closer you get to the cross, the smaller the crowd becomes. How beautiful is this, and so true. The closer you get to the cross, the smaller the crowd becomes. The cross is the symbolic representation of the ultimate truth. And so the more you come close to the truth, the less followers you will have. Because facing the truth, facing God is not everybody's cup of tea. Only few can come closer to the cross, closer to God consciousness. And so God's fellows are always in minority. They are few, very, very few, but they are the ones who make a great difference, a positive difference in the lives of others. They are the God's fools, and they love, they dance, they rejoice in the name of the Lord, because they love to be God's fools. Ask yourself, are you willing to become a God's fool? The door is open for each one of you. The question is, who is willing to walk in? Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.